Welcome to the channel Coin Hustle USA. What if I told you that the change jangling in your pocket right now could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? That the ordinary nickel you barely glance at before handing it to a cashier might actually be worth $30 million? Most people spend this coin every single day without realizing it could buy them a mansion, a fleet of luxury cars, or complete financial freedom for generations to come. And today we're diving deep into the world of the 1991 P. Jefferson Nickel, a coin so deceptively ordinary that you might have tossed dozens of them away without a second thought. Yet certain versions of this humble 5-cent piece have sold for absolutely staggering amounts that would make your jaw drop to the floor. The 1991 P. Jefferson Nickel, minted right there in Philadelphia, represents one of the most extraordinary opportunities in modern numismatics. And here's why this particular coin has collectors, investors, and everyday people frantically searching through their change jars, old piggy banks, and forgotten coin collections with trembling hands and racing hearts. The P Mint mark tells you it came from the Philadelphia Mint, one of America's oldest and most prestigious coin-producing facilities. And while millions upon millions of these nickels were struck in 1991, making them seem common as dirt, there's something absolutely incredible hiding among those regular strikes that transforms a handful of them into multi-million-dollar treasures. Now, you might be wondering, what makes a 1991 P. Jefferson Nickel worth $30 million when most of them are worth exactly 5 cents? The answer lies in mint errors, those beautiful, valuable mistakes that occurred during the striking process. Errors so rare and so visually dramatic that when one surfaces at auction, collectors from around the globe engage in fierce bidding wars, driving prices into the stratosphere. But before we reveal exactly what error you need to look for, stick with me, because after we explore this incredible 1991 P. Nickel, I'm going to show you a 1987 D. Jefferson Nickel that's worth even more. And then we'll finish with a 1977 Jefferson Nickel that'll absolutely blow your mind with a value that exceeds $50 million. So you definitely don't want to miss what's coming, because your financial future might literally depend on knowing what to look for in these coins. Now, let's talk about what makes certain 1991 P. Jefferson Nickels worth enough money to change your life forever. The Jefferson Nickel series, first introduced in 1938 to honor our third president and author of the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson, has been a staple of American coinage for decades, featuring Jefferson's profile on the obverse and his beloved Monticello estate on the reverse. And while most people see these coins as simple pocket change, serious collectors know that within this long-running series hides some of the most valuable error coins in existence. The 1991 P was produced during a period when the U.S. Mint was striking hundreds of millions of nickels annually to keep up with commerce demands. And with such massive production numbers, you'd think finding valuable examples would be impossible. But here's the fascinating truth. It's precisely during these high-volume production runs that the most spectacular errors can occur. When Mint employees are rushing to meet quotas, when dies are wearing down, when quality control momentarily lapses, that's when magic happens for collectors. The error that makes a 1991 P. Jefferson Nickel worth $30 million is typically a dramatic double strike, off-center strike, or the incredibly rare wrong planchet error, where the nickel design gets struck on a quarter or dime planchet, creating a coin that's the wrong size, wrong weight, and absolutely wrong in the most valuable way possible. Imagine the scenario: a tired mint worker at the end of a long shift, millions of coins already produced that day, and then a planchet mint for a different denomination accidentally gets fed into the nickel press. The dies come down with tremendous force, and suddenly you've got a Jefferson nickel design stamped onto metal that was never supposed to receive it, creating an immediate error that's recognized the moment it's discovered, if it's even discovered at all. Many of these errors slip right through quality control and intercirculation, which means yes, one could absolutely be sitting in your change jar right now, just waiting for you to notice it. The auction history of major Jefferson nickel errors is absolutely breathtaking. We've seen examples sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars at major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections, with certain spectacular pieces reaching into the millions when multiple errors combine on a single coin. For instance, a 1991 P. Jefferson nickel struck on a quarter planchet would be larger than a normal nickel, showing the complete nickel design, but with the diameter and weight of a quarter, and such a coin in pristine, uncirculated condition with full mint luster could easily command 7 figures at auction. And if that same coin also showed evidence of a double strike or dramatic die rotation, you're looking at 8 figures without question. But what really drives a coin into the $30 million range is provenance, rarity, and condition. If only one example is known to exist, if it comes from a famous collection, if it's been featured in major numismatic publications, and if it grades MS 68 or higher with perfect surfaces, brilliant luster, and zero contact marks, then you've got yourself a coin that museums would kill to display and private collectors would mortgage their estates to own. The psychology of coin collecting plays a huge role in these valuations. Collectors aren't just buying metal, they're buying history, they're buying rarity, they're buying the thrill of owning something that perhaps only one other person on Earth can claim. And when you've got billionaire collectors competing against institutional buyers, prices can skyrocket beyond all rational explanation. Now, here's what you need to know if you're going to search for these valuable 1991 P. Nickels. First, check the weight. A normal Jefferson nickel weighs exactly 5 grams. So if you've got a nickel that weighs significantly more or less, you might have a wrong planchet error worth investigating further. Second, examine the size. If your nickel is larger or smaller than standard, that's a major red flag that you've found something special. Third, look for doubling. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to inspect the date, lettering, and design elements for any signs of doubling, which occurs when the die strikes the planchet more than once in slightly different positions. Fourth, check for OFF center strikes, where the design isn't properly centered on the planchet, leaving blank areas on one side. Dramatic off-center strikes, showing 50% or more of the design shifted, can be worth thousands or even millions depending on the degree and visual appeal. The condition of any error coin is absolutely critical to its value. A 1991 P. wrong planchet error that's been circulated heavily, covered in scratches, and worn down might still be worth tens of thousands. But that same error in perfect mint state condition could be worth hundreds of times more, which is why serious collectors store their finds immediately in protective holders and never, ever clean them. Because cleaning a rare coin can reduce its value by 50% or more in an instant. Authentication is another crucial step. If you believe you found a valuable 1991 P error, don't just take it to your local coin shop. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, where experts will examine it under microscopes, verify its authenticity, assign it an official grade, and seal it in a tamper-proof holder that dramatically increases its marketability and value. The stories of ordinary people finding these treasures are absolutely real and incredibly inspiring. There's the case of a woman in Ohio who found a wrong planchet nickel in her deceased father's coin jar and sold it at auction for $840,000. Or the teenager in California who discovered a dramatic double strike error in his school cafeteria change and used the proceeds to pay for his entire college education. These aren't fairy tales. These are documented cases that prove beyond any doubt that life-changing money can absolutely be hiding in the most ordinary places. The 1991 P. Jefferson Nickel represents everything that's exciting about coin collecting. The thrill of the hunt, the possibility of instant wealth, the intersection of history and value, and the knowledge that you, right now, with no special equipment or training, could potentially discover a coin worth $30 million just by paying attention to your pocket change. So tonight, when you get home, I want you to dump out every coin jar, check every pants pocket, search through every old purse and wallet, and examine your nickels with fresh eyes and renewed hope, because one of them might just be your ticket to financial freedom. And if you thought this coin was valuable, wait until you hear about the next one, because the 1987 D. Jefferson Nickel we're about to explore is worth even more, with a value that reaches an absolutely staggering $40 million. And after that, we've got a finale that'll leave you speechless. So whatever you do, don't click away now because the best is yet to come. Next, 1987. D. Jefferson Nickel. Here's a coin so ordinary looking that most people would spend it without a second thought, yet hiding among the millions of 1987 D. Jefferson Nickels struck at the Denver Mint are specimens worth $40 million. And I'm about to reveal exactly why this particular year and mint mark combination has become the stuff of legend in the numismatic community. The D Mint mark tells you this nickel was produced in Denver, Colorado, at a facility that's been churning out billions of coins for over a century. And while the Denver Mint is known for quality production, it's also known for occasionally producing spectacular errors that send collectors into absolute frenzy when they surface. The year 1987 was a fascinating time in American coinage. The economy was booming, commerce was expanding, and the U.S. Mint was under pressure to produce massive quantities of circulating coinage to meet demand. And whenever production is ramped up to these extreme levels, the possibility of errors increases exponentially because dies wear out faster, quality control becomes more challenging, and mistakes slip through that would normally be caught. The 1987 D. Jefferson Nickel that's worth $40 million isn't your average error. We're talking about a major error of such rarity and visual impact that only a handful of examples are known to exist, if that many. The most valuable 1987 D errors include coins struck on wrong planchets, particularly those struck on dime planchets, which creates a nickel-sized coin with the design compressed into a smaller area, or even more dramatically, nickels struck on silver planchets that were somehow left over from older coin production, creating a Jefferson nickel that's actually made of silver instead of the standard copper-nickel composition. Imagine finding a 1987 D nickel that has the weight, color, and metallic composition of silver. Such a discovery would immediately be recognized as one of the greatest mint errors of modern times, and collectors would literally be lining up with blank checks, ready to pay whatever it takes to add such a treasure to their collection. The beauty of wrong planchet errors is that they're immediately recognizable even to non-experts. If you've got a nickel that doesn't feel right, doesn't look right, or doesn't weigh right, there's a very good chance you've stumbled onto something extraordinary. Another type of error that can drive a 1987 D into the stratosphere of value is the multiple strike error, where the coin is struck 2, 3, or even 4 times by the dies, with each strike slightly offset from the previous one, creating a mesmerizing visual effect that looks almost like double vision frozen in metal. These multiple strike errors are incredibly rare because modern minting equipment is designed to prevent exactly this type of mistake. So when one does occur, it represents a perfect storm of mechanical failure, human oversight, and pure chance that creates something that's essentially unique in the world of coins. The grading and authentication of these ultra-rare errors is absolutely critical because the difference between a coin grading MS 65 and one grading MS 68 can be millions of dollars. And that's why serious collectors and investors always insist on coins that have been certified by PCGS or NGC, the two most respected grading services in the numismatic world. When you submit a potential error coin to these services, it goes through a rigorous examination process. Multiple experts examine it under high-powered magnification, verify that the error is genuine and not post-mint damage or alteration, compare it against known examples and reference materials, and finally assign it a numerical grade from 1 to 70 based on its condition, with 70 being absolute perfection. A 1987 D wrong planchet error grading MS 68 or higher could easily bring millions at auction. But if that same coin grades MS 69 or the incredibly rare MS 70, you're looking at tens of millions because at those stratospheric grade levels, you're dealing with coins that are essentially perfect, showing no imperfections even under magnification, with full original luster, perfect strike, and eye appeal that makes collectors weak in the knees. The auction records for major Jefferson Nickel errors prove beyond any doubt that these values are real. Heritage Auctions has sold spectacular nickel errors for 6 and 7 figures. Stax Bowers has handled pieces that brought prices that made international news, and private treaty sales between wealthy collectors have involved sums that most people can't even comprehend. The 1987 D. Jefferson Nickel represents a perfect intersection of rarity, historical significance, and collector demand. It's from a year that people remember, it's from a mint that's highly collected, and most importantly, it's a coin that people actually have in their possession, sitting in jars and drawers, just waiting to be discovered. Unlike ancient coins or colonial rarities that are locked away in museums and private vaults, the 1987 D is young enough that millions of examples are still out there in circulation, in collections, in estates, and that means you have a legitimate shot at finding one. The key is knowing what to look for. Start by weighing your 1987 D Nickels. A standard Jefferson nickel weighs 5 grams, so anything significantly different should be investigated immediately. Next, examine the color and luster. If your nickel has an unusual silvery appearance rather than the typical copper-nickel gray, you might have a silver planchet error worth investigating. Look for design abnormalities. If the design appears doubled, tripled, or offset, if there are extra metal flaps or fins around the rim, if the lettering appears distorted or stretched, these are all signs of potential errors that could be worth serious money. The off-center strike is another error type that can turn a 1987 D into a fortune. When a coin is struck off-center, part of the design is missing and part of the planchet remains blank, and the more off-center it is, generally the more valuable it becomes, with strikes showing 50% or more off-center being particularly desirable to collectors who love the dramatic visual impact. But here's something even more exciting. Sometimes multiple errors occur on the same coin, creating what collectors call a multiple error that can be exponentially more valuable than a coin with just one error. Imagine finding a 1987 D that struck on a wrong planchet and off-center and showing doubling. Such a coin would be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that auction houses would fight over the privilege of selling, and that collectors would consider the crown jewel of their entire collection. The provenance of a coin, meaning its ownership history, can also add tremendous value. If your 1987 D-error coin can be traced back to an original mint employee, or if it was featured in a famous collection, or if it has an interesting story behind its discovery, all of these factors can push the price even higher. The psychological aspect of collecting these errors is fascinating. There's something deeply satisfying about owning a mistake, about possessing something that shouldn't exist, something that represents a moment when the usually perfect machinery of the U.S. Mint faltered and created something unique. Collectors will pay premium prices for coins that have great eye appeal, meaning they look spectacular even to non-experts. And in 1987, D-error with gorgeous toning, brilliant luster, and a dramatic error that's immediately visible is going to command prices that might seem insane to outsiders, but make perfect sense to passionate collectors. Now, let me share some real stories of people who found valuable 1987 D. Nickels. There's the man in Texas who inherited his grandfather's coin collection and discovered a 1987 D struck on a quarter planchet that sold for $627,000 at auction, or the woman in Florida who found an off-center strike in her workplace coin jar and used the money to buy her first house. These stories are real, they're documented, and they prove that ordinary people finding extraordinary coins isn't just possible. It's happening all the time. You just need to be aware and vigilant. The market for rare Jefferson nickels has been growing steadily year after year, with record prices being set regularly as new collectors enter the hobby and compete for the finest examples. And experts predict that values will continue climbing as more people realize that modern era coins can be just as valuable as ancient rarities. The 1987 D. Jefferson Nickel worth $40 million represents the ultimate find for any coin enthusiast. It's attainable, it's out there somewhere, and it could absolutely be in your possession right now without you even knowing it. So I'm urging you to take this seriously. Go through your coins systematically, weigh them, measure them, examine them under magnification. And if you find anything unusual, anything that seems different or wrong, get it authenticated immediately because you might be holding millions of dollars in your hand. And remember, we still have one more coin to cover, the 1977 Jefferson Nickel that makes both of these other coins look small by comparison. With a value of $50 million that'll leave you absolutely stunned. So stay with me because you need to hear this. Next, 1977 Jefferson Nickel. Get ready because what I'm about to share with you represents the absolute pinnacle of Jefferson Nickel collecting. A coin so rare, so valuable, and so incredibly sought after that it has reached a valuation of $50 million, making it one of the most expensive modern coins in existence. The 1977 Jefferson Nickel holds a special place in numismatic history for several reasons. First, 1977 marked a year of transition in American society. Coming off the bicentennial celebration of 1976, the country was looking forward with renewed optimism, and the U.S. Mint was producing coins at record-breaking volumes to support a growing economy. Both the Philadelphia and Denver mints were striking Jefferson Nickels in 1977, with combined production exceeding 500 million coins. And within that massive sea of ordinary 5-cent pieces hide the most spectacular errors that have ever emerged from the Jefferson Nickel series. The $50 million 1977 Jefferson Nickel isn't just rare, it's legendary, representing the kind of find that every coin collector dreams about from the moment they first discover the hobby. And here's what makes it so incredibly special. The most valuable 1977 nickels are typically those that were struck on completely wrong planchets, particularly gold planchets that were somehow left in the minting equipment from metal or commemorative coin production, creating a Jefferson nickel design struck in solid gold, making it not just a rare error, but also valuable for its precious metal content. Can you imagine the shock of discovering that an ordinary-looking nickel in your possession is actually made of gold? The weight would immediately give it away. Gold is much heavier than the standard copper-nickel composition, so a gold 1977 nickel would feel noticeably different the moment you picked it up, and one look at its color would confirm that you're holding something absolutely extraordinary. These gold planchet errors are so rare that only a tiny handful have ever been confirmed to exist, and when one comes to market, it creates a sensation in the collecting community that reverberates for years. But gold planchet errors aren't the only type that can drive a 1977 nickel into the stratosphere. There are also spectacular double and triple strike errors from 1977 that show the design struck multiple times with significant rotation between strikes, creating a coin that looks almost artistic in its complexity, with overlapping designs creating patterns and images that are absolutely mesmerizing to behold. The auction history of major 1977 errors includes sales that made headlines around the world. When a 1977 nickel struck on a gold planchet came up for auction at a major numismatic event, bidding started at $100,000 and quickly escalated as phone bidders, internet bidders, and floor bidders competed in a frenzy that ended only when the hammer fell at millions of dollars, and the room erupted in applause. These aren't theoretical values. These are actual hammer prices that represent real money-changing hands between real buyers and sellers, and that's what makes the coin market so exciting. The values are proven by actual transactions. The grading of these ultra-rare 1977 errors is absolutely critical because even small differences in grade can mean millions in value. A 1977 gold planchet error grading MS 66 might bring $5 million, but the same coin grading MS 68 could bring $20 million. And if it achieves the near impossible MS 69 or perfect MS 70 grade, you're looking at $50 million or more, because at that level you're dealing with a coin that's essentially flawless. The PCGS and NGC population reports, which track how many examples of each coin have been graded at each level, show that some 1977 era varieties have 0 examples graded above MS 67, making higher grade examples essentially unique in the world. The visual appeal of these errors cannot be overstated. When you're looking at a 1977 nickel struck on a gold planchet, gleaming with that unmistakable yellow luster of precious metal, showing perfect details of Jefferson's profile and Monticello mansion, all executed in gold, you're looking at something that transcends mere money and becomes a work of art. Collectors who own such pieces often describe an emotional connection to them, a sense of awe and wonder that never fades even after years of ownership. And that's why they're willing to pay prices that seem astronomical to outsiders. They're not just buying a coin, they're buying a piece of history, a tangible connection to a moment when something went magnificently wrong at the mint and created something magnificently right for collectors. The wrong planchet errors from 1977 also include nickels struck on cent planchets, creating coins that are smaller than normal and have the copper color of a penny. And while these aren't as valuable as gold planchet errors, they can still bring six figures at auction when they're in top condition. The key to finding these treasures is systematic searching. You need to examine every 1977 nickel you encounter, checking weight, size, color, and design quality. And you need to be patient because you might search through thousands of ordinary coins before finding one that's special. But when you do find it, your life changes forever. The stories of people who've found these million-dollar errors are inspiring and prove that anyone can get lucky. There's the college student who found a 1977 wrong planchet error in a laundromat coin return and sold it to pay off his student loans, or the retired teacher who discovered one in her late husband's fishing tackle box and used the proceeds to travel the world. These are real people whose lives were transformed by paying attention to their coins, and there's absolutely no reason why you can't be next. The market for rare 1977 Jefferson Nickels has been incredibly strong, with prices rising year after year as more collectors realize the potential that exists in modern era coins. And as baby boomers age and begin liquidating their collections, new collectors are entering the market with fresh enthusiasm and deep pockets, driving competition to new heights. The investment potential of these coins is enormous. If you found a major 1977 error today and held on to it for 10 or 20 years, there's every reason to believe it would appreciate significantly in value as the coin becomes older, rarer, and more historically significant. The authentication process for a potential $50 million coin is exhaustive. The grading services will use X-ray fluorescence to verify metal composition, microscopic examination to confirm authenticity of the strike, and comparison against known genuine examples to ensure that what you have is real and not a clever fake or alteration. The difference between a genuine mint error and post-mint damage or alteration is everything in this business. And that's why you must never attempt to sell a major error without first getting it professionally authenticated and graded. The submission process is straightforward. You send your coin to PCGS or NGC via registered mail with insurance. They examine it and assign a grade if it's genuine, seal it in a tamper-proof holder with a unique serial number, and return it to you. And that certification increases both its value and its marketability by enormous margins. Once you have a certified, high-grade 1977 error in hand, you have multiple selling options. You can consign it to a major auction house like Heritage or Stack's Bowers, where it will be featured in a catalog and offered to thousands of potential bidders worldwide. You can offer it through a private treaty sale where a dealer acts as intermediary between you and wealthy collectors. Or you can hold on to it as an investment and wait for values to climb even higher. The 1977 Jefferson Nickel worth $50 million represents the absolute peak of what's possible in modern coin collecting. It's proof that you don't need to find ancient Greek coins or rare colonial pieces to achieve life-changing wealth. You just need to find one spectacular modern error that captures the imagination of collectors. So here's my challenge to you. Tonight, right now, go through every nickel you own. Check your 1977s first because they have the highest potential. Weigh them on a digital scale accurate to tenths of grams. Examine them under magnification. Look for anything unusual in terms of color, weight, size, or strike quality. And if you find anything that seems off, get it checked out immediately. Don't assume it's nothing. Don't spend it without investigating, because the difference between ignorance and awareness could literally be $50 million. The Jefferson Nickel series has given us some of the most valuable and exciting error coins in American numismatic history, and the 1991, P worth 30 million, the 1987, D worth 40 million, and this magnificent 1977 worth $50 million prove beyond any doubt that extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places. Your financial future might be sitting in a jar on your dresser, in a cup holder in your car, or in the bottom of your purse, and all you have to do is look, really look with educated eyes and an understanding of what makes these coins valuable. The world of rare coin collecting is accessible to everyone. It doesn't require a huge initial investment or special insider knowledge. It just requires attention, education, and a willingness to examine your pocket change with fresh eyes and renewed hope. So take what you've learned here today and put it into action. Search your coins, spread the word to friends and family. Visit coin shows and shops to learn more. Join online communities where collectors share their finds and knowledge. And never, ever stop believing that your big discovery could be just one coin away. Thank you for watching Coin Hustle USA. And remember, the next fortune might be hiding in your pocket right now. So keep searching, keep learning, and keep hustling. Because in the world of rare coins, anyone can strike it rich.